Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to a very wonderful edition of State of Play. But in State of Play, we don't do the formalities of introducing.
Oh, no.
We go straight to the point.
Lots of issues to be discussed.
I'm very happy you are aware that my brother is in studio with me. The other one is on sabbatical leave, but that matter, we will deal with it in the nearest future. So Winston is here with me. We are here to talk about something very important.
Yeah.
Before we commence that, it's so important that it's at the core of our politics and our development as a people. Recently, there's been concerns about what the president has been saying. People are worried that the president is no longer speaking in the way that we loved him to speak to us on how he's supposed to be speaking to us. There are concerns that more recently, or maybe with time, the president's speech has not been reflective of a servant leader. But we put together this report to put that in proper perspective for you to get it.
Abasa me baba sraga na mai. The baba sraga na mai. E ka say anka me froe. Afi I am premier sa me pray beje. Me sramo Ghana for mama me kwai mo fa ma work day and baba time
In 2016, the presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party, Nana Akufo-Addo, begged voters to vote for him. He emphasized that the people have a lot of power, so he will always beg them. He criticized President Mahama for ridiculing him for pleading with voters. The people were persuaded and voted for him in 2016. He went on to win the 2020 elections as well. The public has been anxiously anticipating the fulfillment of all promises made to them. Many citizens have made demands. This includes Aplau Chief Togbe Amenyafiti V, who gave the Education Ministry an ultimatum to complete the E-Block school in Aplau.
I carry this message to the Minister of Education that come February, I want this school to be open. Yes, February. First batch.
This ultimatum generated a response from the president when he was interviewed by Peace FM morning show host Kwame Sefakai.
Ohine one flower patch say E-Block no oba yenye ho hwe. Inti on my education minister up to February say oba yen ho bibi. It's an say
no minister ultimatum.
This response generated intense criticisms.
To speak up the way Tommy Pitti spoke up, he has my respect. That is what chiefs must do. So I don't think that the president should be defending or his people should be defending his remark. It was poor, it was not well calibrated. So let's get it right. Our politicians are leading us into all kinds of promises which create these problems.
The people of Akwa and Manso in the Ashanti region have also been demanding their share of good roads. President Akufo-Addo has an answer for the people of Akwa and Manso.
Yeah, but when it is so, because yet to me, one stage. I'm sorry to have to say.
Critics are concerned about the president's posture, but could it be that the pressure of numerous demands is getting to him? Or is it that the president will not be on the ballot in the 2024 elections, so has nothing to lose?
No problem.
You do it.
I'm saying, people make those kind of threats. Me, they don't frighten me.
Okay.
Somebody votes for you, somebody supports you. It's because they want you to do things for them. I understand that. There's no need for people to go to my say. I don't want to answer. But of course, mayor. But about to decide is over to a man. Say, "Oh, awesome! I know you may massa. Will be a song, and in teams, baby." And they wow. The important thing is that we have a responsibility. I understand the responsibility, and we will deal with it.
Fantastic.
Right.
Well, this discussion can continue in your various homes and offices. Jojo Kobna.
So, Winston, that's the concern, and ladies and gentlemen, that's what we'll be having. That's what we're talking about today. Has there been any change? And let me even just go straight to the point, because Indefatigable Mary Gifty put up a post, which was to actually get you to respond to it. Do you think the president's attitude towards Ghanaians changed from when he was a presidential candidate and now that he's a president? Of course, mindful of the recent comments.
No, but
we
you
also did a post on this.
Before you bring the post,
Yeah. No,
isn't it obvious?
No, I want you to relax more.
No, but I'm
we
relaxed.
have a lot more time.
No, we have a lot more time. But I'm saying, isn't it obvious?
Yes.
That the president's posting, prior to becoming president, where he went around the country
and begged people, and said the power belongs to the people.
When the NDC told him that if you have something good to offer, you don't go around begging.
Yes.
He said the power belonged to the people.
That's true.
And so he shall continuously beg the people because he wants to serve the people. Now, if you're begging the people because you want to come and serve them, I see it now as the president at the time auditioning for a job.
Yeah.
You see, there are two things here.
Or seeking to recruit a girlfriend.
Well, when you come into office, you could beg the people to vote for you, to come and serve them.
Yeah.
Because you believe that when you're given the opportunity, you will change things. Or you can actually beg the people or pretend to be the man to change things only for you to come into office and do the opposite. What are we seeing today? Now, when the guy didn't even finish saying any
yeah, about the Kwabere people.
About the Kwabere rules. Because
watch it, this is 80,000 votes you're talking about from a single constituency.
My brother, nobody says the president should construct all roads in this country today.
Nobody can do that.
Nobody can do that. But people, the essence of it, the people would tell you why their roads should be constructed. And you would now do the analysis and find out where in the interest of the state you must construct those roads.
And more importantly, under these circumstances, these are promises you made.
Yes.
It's not like the people, you are not packed with them proud to coming into office or stay in office. You are consistently promised them you will fix those roads.
So you see, this attitude.
And they delivered on their side. They gave you the massive votes.
And now you catch an around and say, and
your musu.
And your musu. In your musu. Because you ain't hello. Look. Look. You see, we joke. I mean, someone just sent me a message, and I said, he says, why can't our country, our democracy, be like established democracy? And I said, you said established democracies. See, that is the difference between our democracy and their democracy.
Yeah.
Because we still think that we are practicing a monarchy in this country, where when you become, a chief, everything you want, you can nobody can challenge you or what have you. The president is getting something fundamentally wrong. The president is getting a lot of things fundamentally wrong. How different is the president's posting from Akufo-Addo?
That's true.
That he criticized.
Yeah.
How different is Akufo-Addo's posting today from the era?
Yeah.
And the MPP accused Mahama of engaging in Ethiopia. How different is Mahama's posting from what we are seeing today? When Mahama said that if you're not a president, if you've not
been president before,
you shouldn't criticize him. We also said Mahama was wrong. Today, the president says,
and even after all the backlash on the interview we did in studio, where people felt the language used was not presidential in all of its forms, the expectation was that they were going to influence, just a day, right? The next day. The president was all over the place, telling people who are all over the place, not speaking good of him, that they'll be disgraced.
They'll be disgraced. So those who are going to not speaking evil about him, or not saying good things about him. God is disgraced. They'll be disgraced.
It sounds to me like, and I respect the president. I respect the presidency of the Republic of Ghana too, because it's the highest office in the country. Yeah. The occupant is our servant, not the other way around. Even though in our part of the world, mostly we make it look like we serve the leader there. So all the largesse we give them and all the power we give them is to make sure that they function to our good. If this were a company, he is the MD who is beholden to the board and shareholders of this particular company. And the ordinary people of this country are the shareholders of this company. Let's look at it fully here. The president understood that when he was campaigning.
Exactly.
That is why his response was that power belongs to the people. I want it, so I'll go to them. So what has changed, and we know power corrupts, and that's what Lord Acton said. But to the extent that it appears the man who understood his role and what he was supposed to do, and the relationship he should have with the ordinary people who gave him the power, why is the president now feeling that he's almost like God chosen and we did not participate in the voting to put him there? In any case, even if you're of that idea, check the British monarchy. They do everything possible to bring the good books of the people.
Exactly.
Even they.
Even they, permanent. You see,
they do everything possible
and that's
to bring the
problem.
good books of the people.
Raymond, look, let's not look. Let's not even go far. Today, Liz Truss has resigned.
Yes.
She has resigned as Prime Minister after 45 days.
Not because she stole something, no.
Nothing.
Because the people feel, in fact, in her party, there are two schools of thought. One says cutting spending is dangerous. The other says, no, we need to cut spending.
Yes.
Because the times demand it. And those are the arguments that are leading. And it's the reason why she cannot longer continue in office.
And you see, listen, and because...
And she's not out there saying that, oh, why? It's not possible that you remove me. And I don't care what you think.
And you see, because she believes that people have lost the trust
brilliant
they had in her and voted for her, she's going to step aside. It takes me to 2017 when David Cameron said, he was asked a simple question, if the Brexit wins, would you resign as Prime Minister? Initially he said, I am not the one on the ballot. But because he addressed the nation and said he supported the UK's remaining in the EU, he said, I do not think that I have to be the one to see you through exiting from the EU. If this is not leadership, what is it?
I think, see,
I mean, if you think that you cannot...
And we think that sometimes, because we compare ourselves to the likes of Togo, those not substandard. I mean,
let me just come in and say that. There's a saying.
Yeah. We actually end up thinking, yes.
Hold on. Who don't want to talk Amoah? They be over anything.
Yeah, it's true.
If you compare
and we feel
yourself
that
to a
very
dwarf,
tall. So
you would always be
look
tall.
at how we always say that, oh, in the West African sub-region.
Do best practice.
Yes. But always, all the time, when we compare ourselves to the standards across the world, we fall short heavily. Our governance standards are extremely poor. They are extremely low. People are corrupt. People have made the worst decisions in office. Just leave. They don't want to leave. I mean, they make it look like it's a private property, as if it's some family gathering, and that me and my children, in fact, what did the finance minister say? That if I leave, how does a father abandon the children?
Who told him that?
Nobody in this republic made you a father.
No.
We didn't even vote for you.
You have come to work.
Yes.
And
if you're not delivering, you go.
Now you say, how can I? And you see, this is our thinking. The thinking of the finance minister.
But see, fathers protect their children. Responsible fathers make sure that no bad comes to them.
And he has failed.
Yes.
So when you feel even the state can take your child away from you, that you cannot protect your child. Yeah. So ordinarily, the finance minister should not, but you see, do you blame the finance minister? When the president says he cannot turn his back on him, do you blame the finance minister? So the president says, this man, supervised our exit from the IMF.
Yeah.
He says, this man was the one who ensured that we were growing on the average by 7% between 2017 and 2019. And so this same man, if through no fault of his, that is instructive.
Yeah.
The president says, through no fault of the finance minister.
And still, he believes that.
We are where we are today.
Nothing to do with him anyway.
We are where we are today. He won't sack him. The same president, in fact, initially we thought that the president didn't know what was happening in this country. He said he's informed first before they tell us. So he knows what is happening in this country.
Yeah.
My goodness. If we know what is happening in this country, and this is the level that we find ourselves in, and I'm sorry, Mr. President. I'm sorry, Mr. President. Yes, you know what is happening in this country, but I am sorry you are not taking the right steps to address what is happening in this country. In any serious jurisdiction, the finance minister would have resigned. Even the vice president.
As a matter of general principle.
Even the vice president.
Like your colleagues elsewhere. I mean, Liz Truss, small girl.
Yes, even
look up to the finance minister's
Oh, no,
age.
she's not.
Even
the finance, even the vice president, as chairman of the economic management team himself, would have said that, okay, the economic management team of which I chair.
The solid team.
The
one that you said was the one that was supposed to give us the very best of our
Yes. And I went around this country organizing economic management team town hall meetings.
Yeah.
So if I have organized economic management team town hall meetings and I've been touting the fundamentals of this economy, and the evidence today is that I have been exposed that if you play propaganda with the economy, the figures will expose you. I, chairman of the economic management team,
Yeah.
I am stepping aside. Look, when we become
it will be principle.
it will be principle.
Listen, sorry. See, sometimes if I compare, you might think, compare the CV of Liz Truss to the CV of our vice president, the schools they've gone to, and compare the work they've done over the period of time. You would come to the realization that if it's standards, our vice president should have way more higher standards than Liz Truss.
He's been to Oxford, hasn't he?
Yes. I mean, listen, to the very best of universities across the world, has some training and
Buckingham University, Oxford University.
One will think that
university in Canada.
There's Simon Fraser too.
Simon Fraser in
one will think
Canada.
that it will influence the decisions that they make. If for nothing at all, you would have actually engaged the very best of people. It's almost like every proper person in our government today has had some prudent training, be it outside or within. And yet it doesn't reflect in how they do the governance itself. So I am so convinced that today, the finance minister, if he was sitting somewhere in Manchester drinking tea or so, he would have applauded the decision of Liz Truss.
Yes.
And he would have said that Ghanaian standards should equally be the same way. What prevents us? And I'm linking this to the speech and the way the president has been speaking on these matters. We respect elderly people. So sometimes we are measured and tempered when we are speaking to elderly people. It's the same way there is an unwritten code. The elderly people equally will respect the people so that they not provoke them, to address them in ways that are unpalatable. If the president forgets that he is a representative, and that's putting it mildly, he is supposed to be the servant of the people. Nobody speaks to their master that way. Nobody tells their master, you can continue crying. Nobody tells their master, I will not do it all. Nobody tells their master, you'll be ashamed. But we have it consistently coming from the highest office in this country. And because of the cultural restraints we have in this country, we are unable to respond equally. It must be perhaps the most painful thing. We expect, including the executive president, who has had experience elsewhere in other countries and seen standards being implemented there, to take 10% of those standards and bring it to this country.
Look, and you see, last time we
Liz Truss did not go attacking people.
45 days, she's gone.
Yes.
She says, look, and you see, it's very simple. It's very simple. First of all, when it didn't work for the UK, Liz Truss called Kwesi Kwarteng and told him, Kwesi, and you
go.
Kwesi Kwarteng.
In fact, I am convinced. Very good friends.
Kwesi Kwarteng.
Wonderful relationship. Co-authored books.
Kwesi Kwarteng issued a statement.
Yeah.
And said, I understand.
Yeah.
That we sought to do this.
But we couldn't do it.
We couldn't do it. The people say no. And I would support you.
And she came to apologize to the people.
Yes.
The governors of this
country apologized
to IMF with 30-something inflation. With all of the exchange rate. When have you heard them apologize to the people?
Why would they apologize to the people? Because they see
they
see you as their children. And the father doesn't apologize to his children. After all, the children will go and apologize to their father. And tell their father that Daddy Yankani. That is the kind of system you have in this country. When the people you put in position think that once they've come into office, haven't begged you for you to vote for them, they are now your fathers and mothers. They're the ones who feed you now. And so they cannot leave you. They tell you that your condition is bad. Even though they have caused it to. They say the condition is bad. But I am not the problem. I'm going to bring you out of that condition. Even though they have no clue.
So the person who caused is not the Messiah.
He has caused the problem. It doesn't look like he has a clue to get you out of the problem. But that's not what he's concerned about. What he's concerned about.
But have you heard that? Listen, Kwesi Kwarteng and Kwesi Kwarteng and Kwesi Kwarteng is our MP. Kwesi Kwarteng and Liz Truss, they've never said because of Ukraine and other things, we have failed woefully, and that's never our fault. You know what they say? She came boldly to come and apologize even before her resignation. This is how governance, where the people feel that they are people's representative. Even Boris Johnson, and I'm adding even Boris Johnson, who is believed within British politics not to have any standards at all. Even he said the people are our bosses. If they say we should go, we are going. If they say we should stay, we are staying. It's the only element of our democracy that's forever.
And Mr. President, this is the point. In Ghana here, the people know that, as for Africans, we want to spend our 4 years before we go. No problem. This is your last term. People are not saying anything. I mean, they say that, 2024, you will not be on the ballot. No problem. But at least the people demand respect from you. If for nothing at all. 2, the people are telling you, Mr. President, that your finance minister has underperformed. Some of your ministers have underperformed. Mr. President, why don't you just tell these underperforming ministers to go? You there, if you don't want to reshuffle them, tell them to resign. They should just resign. Issue a statement that I have accepted their resignations. We know you may have sacked them, but you just tell them that I've accepted your resignation, since it is difficult for them to go home. Because some of them believe that we are their children, and that since they did not cause any problem. But you see, that's even the beginning of the problem. A problem well defined is half solved. Now, if you say that I didn't cause the problem because I was doing well until COVID-19 set in, when in 2019 you were told that you are at the risk of high debt distress. I mean, I cringe when I hear these things. But having said that, Mr. President, why did you go say?
At the end of the day, it has never been said
Mr.
that
President,
this is Oforiatta's government.
it is your government. And you have
It's not
always
possible.
And you have always said, I mean, you are credited with leading the repeal of the criminal libel law. Nana Akufo-Addo, you are credited with leading the repeal of the criminal libel law. And so if Ghanaians, and I have heard Kwesi Pratt say before, that, which I have not verified, but I'll say this, that when MPP came into office in 2001, you were the person that stood up and said, no, we have to get this law out. Today, when people, there's someone have you paused a minute? Ask yourself this simple question. Why are the people saying the things that they say? Have you paused a minute? Ask yourself the simple question. Why is it that people seem to be telling me different things within my government, but when I go out, I hear people saying the direct opposite.
It is not because they don't enemies of them.
Listen to them.
Yes.
Listen to them because they're giving you feedback.
Yeah. Which is rarely how leadership deals with it. But let me read some of the messages you've been sending.
Please do,
right?
please do.
So this one says, guess he's overwhelmed with what's going on. We can't blame him much. He needs some assistance. His current reactions are just a reflection of how we all as leaders or men respond to stress and overwhelming pressure. This is from Ras Mauli. Now, Mr. Otin said he has not changed. He was just hiding his real self during that time. I mean, comparing the period between campaigning and now. Black Smoke, says the system has made it possible for them to throw it in our faces when we give them what they want. There should be a system where these guys can be punished severely for what they fail to do. And the receipts guy said, how about Bamia's attitude? Went from all-knowing to somebody who goes to church and he thinks he can use that to finesse his way to be president, taking no responsibility nor acting towards solving our current predicament. We live to see. And Peki Musa said, oh yes, even he himself is aware that he has changed. And the change came in 2020 election because now he now knows he's not going to go again. He will not come and beg Ghanaians again. Now, Nana Sugre said, well, you should ask Dr. Nyahota Maklo. Must you ask this again? Well, Simple says his conduct has been long overdue. And there is one about, he used to beg when he was presidential candidate, but now he speaks anyhow without considering the consequences. And we are not happy. And they are not making his job easier for him. There's one from Isaac Dada Appear. Nothing has changed. Simple. He actually took time to think of us, not focusing on the work, but he's doing other things differently. No wasting his time on naysayers. That's actually what he's saying. Now, Akosha says, and these are on Twitter anyway, he never changed. He used his mind to trick us into believing that he was a humble man. And, okay, so the NDC knew he was an arrogant man, so he used it as a campaign message against him. So he used Kraman and Hobrasier to counter
Kraman and Hobrasier.
Oh, that thing was written in there. Kufuor saw through him, but we didn't listen. And this one is from Fifi Hansen. President J. Kufuor warned Ghanaians low-key, but refused to think into earth. And some of the messages there.
Now this one, yeah, Stone Goldberg on Facebook says, and you see, such a men's Sabonsu and Akwanyu Marking will be in Parliament supporting anything just for the party and not for the country. Dapila Thomas says, more fire. Baba Garba says, and he's replying somebody. I see a lot of you engaged. So, Emma Kwedoka says, Nana and his government should resign before it's too late because I don't want what? Okay, I leave that.
Okay, now there's one more though. We did a poll. We actually put up a poll. Has the president's attitude towards Ghanaians changed from when he was a presidential candidate and now that he's president? I'm just seeing the results then. 90% I see now, 231 voted, 90% said yes, no was 10%. So that's the actual.
So they are sending a signal to the president.
Well, I mean, yeah.
And the signal being sent to the president is that, Mr. President, we voted for you because you begged us.
Yeah.
We voted
and you were
for
unashamed about begging.
Yes.
Because you knew the responsibility of begging was because that we were the people who had the power.
Yes. But now that you have the
power. And he used an expression. Somebody was explaining to me. He used the expression, "Mon fan femme." As it's borrowed power. Not permanently yours. You borrow the power for a period of time so that you can use it to our good. And that's what we all agreed on. But if there are some problems with how you are using the power, the people ought to remind you that this is how you're supposed to go about it. Your response really should be how the younger people in the UK and other places are responding.
Yeah. That's very important. The younger people. These guys born in the 70s.
Yeah.
These guys born in the 70s.
I mean, around 45, 52.
Yes, they are resigning. I mean, look.
They have a lot more to lose. They have a longer life to live on this earth.
And but you see, they should have been concerned about their legacy and say, I want to make sure I correct it.
Yeah.
But they say, look, I mean, you voted for me. You think that I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to do. I've had enough. I think it's time for me to go. Mr. President, I think it's time for you to change a few things. I think it's time for you to change.
To do something.
Your government, the non-performing ministers within your government. This whole thing about hardworking ministers, your hardworking ministers. Yes, I mean, you have some hardworking ministers. You go around commissioning factories, no doubt. But I mean, the thing is that there are some who are not performing. And that is why, you see, why is it that Ghanaians are not telling you to sack all ministers?
Yeah.
But they are mentioning some ministers to you. Why are Ghanaians telling you, particularly the finance minister?
Yeah.
Why are they mentioning him? Why are they not saying that go and sack the trade and industry minister? Why are Ghanaians not saying sack the trade and industry minister? Because they can see. When you say, oh, we are commissioning things, they can see. However, for those that the Ghanaian people, as you would prefer to call us, are telling you to sack them, it's because their performances are bad.
In conclusion, the reminder is that I'm sure now we all know where the exchange rate is, somewhere into 13 CD for the dollar and all of that. We also know where inflation is. We also know what the state of the economy is and the cost of living crisis that we find ourselves. There are no drastic measures being taken on the ground today. Even though you're going around doing saw cutting and all of that, the most important things that we expect you to do are not being done. If you cannot do those extraordinary things, the expectation is that ordinarily you'll be able to speak to us in a way that's acceptable. Hopefully in the future, the president will be the man that was loved and his vote was given so much vote in the year 2016. So within the next 2 years, people will appreciate you more and know your legacy. We can end that, all right?
It's 3 p.m.
Okay. So join us for another edition next week.
week.
Yeah.